Hello, in this video, I want to teach you how you can elevate your branding by essentially going through and looking at brands that your ideal client is interested in so that you can then draw specific things from their branding. Because guess what? They've spent a lot more on understanding ideal clients than you probably ever could. So instead of just trying to understand our ideal client ourselves, we're actually understanding what our ideal client likes, what brands they're interested in, and then going and looking at what those brands have done in terms of their angles, and then learning to apply those things to our website. Now, at this point, if you have not, you should probably go and you could pause this video, go do this. Write down a list of 3 of your most ideal clients. If you don't have 3 that you can think of off the top of your head, if you're new, okay, it's okay to do 1, but go ahead and pick out 3. And if you're, again, brand new, maybe you haven't shot a wedding yet, go to someone that you can talk to that you think is your ideal client and ask them, what brands do you like the most? I would ask them clothing. I would ask them personal brands. So, for instance, someone maybe that they follow on Instagram or an influencer of that sort, and get at least maybe like 3 brands that you can talk with, that you can draw from, because you're going to be looking at some of these different brands and how they do different things, and you're looking for patterns. Okay, so again, if you don't have those brands yet, you don't know them off the top of your head, take time to get to know your ideal client. It's very, very important that you understand, okay, who is my ideal client? What types of jobs are they in? What brands do they like to shop at? And you can learn a lot about their lifestyle from that. So once you have that, you can then move into this part, which is essentially what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at, I'm just going to show you a few different brands that we've actually noticed over time that our ideal clients have a big interest in. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can begin drawing info from those brands. So Farm Rio is one that we've seen pretty regularly that our clients are interested in. And one of the first things I actually look at is the meta description here. So I come in, I start looking at words that they use, like how the brand is described. So like I notice beloved, okay, lifestyle. Okay, we scroll down, and I actually like to look at some of the other websites as well that may list this product, because you can also draw from there. So like Anthropology, apparently they have Farm Rio stuff. So they actually, you'll notice here, what began as a handful of goods, they start telling a story. Okay, so take note of that type of stuff. Sun-soaked dressing, vibrant colors, bold silhouette, feminine details embedded in every design, cheerful creations, okay, crafted with exotic. Okay, you start seeing these certain types of words. Well, guess what? It's funny because like we use some of the same types of words in our branding, right? So what I'm doing is I'm already starting to get ideas for copy. And as I begin to absorb my ideal client and sort of develop an internal conversation, because I'm defining my ideal client by tapping into these companies that have spent a lot more money to understand this type of person, I am now better able to resonate with that person. So again, it's like feminine details, like the cheerful creations, the vibrant colors, bold silhouette. These are types of words that you might start drawing from to use to describe your ideal client. So when you go to your copy, say on your homepage, the thing that you got to remember is you should be using what I call identity markers, meaning you are calling people out and saying, hey, this is the type of person that I serve. This is my ideal client. You should be defining your ideal client. So again, what we're doing is we're actually looking at these words here. That's the first thing that we're going to do. We're also going to look at some other stuff and begin to draw some design ideas as well. Now, let's go ahead and actually go to Farm Rio's website. I've actually not been to their website before. This is one brand I have not done this for. So this is going to be me shooting off the cuff. And so I want to show you how you can develop this skill so that you can start to, again, understand your ideal client better. Now, there's a few things I start paying attention to immediately as I land on this web page. Number one, and I think it is still technically loading, it says processing, so it seems like it's a fairly slow website. There we go. Notice how the logo is, the font. Now, I'm not saying that you should make your font and your logo like Farm Rio. I'm saying you should figure out the brands and start drawing from those brands that are correlated to your ideal client. So notice how the font is very plain. You know, the logo is very, very plain, and it's a sans serif. Okay. Now, what's cool, and I wish I could get this pop up to stop coming up for Honey. What is very cool is you can actually get this extension called What Font. Now, when you click on What Font, what it enables to happen is it will actually tell you the font that's being used on a particular page. So it should be on. Let me see. I believe it's on. Let's hover. Yeah. So we see that this font here is Futura. Okay. So now I know the font. And that's pretty cool because I can get that font, right? I can go search for that font and get it downloaded and all that good stuff. So that way I can actually even literally start choosing fonts that I see on my ideal client's website. So, you know, we see that here I've clicked and it shows me all the different types of fonts that they use. I take note of how they use their, let's close out of this real quick. I take note of how they use their navigation, okay, the font that they use there. Then also, as we're scrolling down a little bit, I take note of how they're doing their photos, the words they're using, even their call to actions. I think are pretty interesting to take note of because we notice colors. Okay, color. There's color psychology here. You know, if I was to start talking about Farm Rio's brand, I'd say they're colorful. They're kind of cheerful. They're bold, and again, they use those words in the meta description. Right? There's lots of like, maybe you might call it sort of a modern look. So you see words like I want to say it was even new. You know, this is kind of like a modern style brand, colorful, exotic, fun. They're using action words like dive into our joyful Prince paradise. Again, there's joyful. I think in the meta description on the Anthropology website they used cheerful. Okay, so they're kind of going after this like action word, cheerful, joyful, colorful movement type of what do you call it, of persona, so to speak. So again, we keep scrolling down. We've taken notes of fonts, the types of colors they're using, both on their site as well as in the pictures. Again, call to actions. All these things can be so good as you start applying it to your own brand, because you don't necessarily have to have a professional brand designer if you have access to, again, like what font. I can see the different fonts on the website. I can begin to draw from this brand. Now, we could do the same thing for, let's say, I want to say it's Chanel. Let's look at Chanel. And I actually want to start on Google, so let's go click back here. I believe I'm maybe a click or two back here. If it decides to load. There we go. So what we're going to do is, again, we're just going to look at the meta description. I also like this over here. So French luxury fashion house founded by Cotier. I don't even know if that's a I don't know. Y'all can pretend that I know how to say that. And I'll leave it at that. Focused on women's ready-to-wear clothes, luxury goods, and accessories. You know, that doesn't tell us a whole lot there. So again, we're just going to keep going down the page. Iconic. Notice iconic is sort of a brand word there. Let's keep scrolling down because again, I like to look at other websites descriptions as well. Here's Nordstrom says exquisite Chanel. Okay. Now and forever classic, youthful, exuberant. Okay, let's see what other words we got here. Let's even go down a little bit more and see what else is possibly down here. Not too much else. So let's go back to the Chanel website. And again, I'm looking at how they do things like their logo. Okay, and I am skipping to like a main page, like the fashion page, because they do have like a landing page, which I don't like, at least for wedding photographers. But they have a bunch of different divisions, so they have to do something like that. Okay, logo, super plain. Again, this is a sans serif font. Notice their navigation, how they do their navigation is actually sort of similar, but maybe more serious looking than Farm Rio. You know, so if I was making some decisions about my brand and what to do with my website and my copy, my words on my site, I'm probably going to I'm going to start finding patterns, okay? And then I'm going to draw what I like best from that. So like a pattern I see again is the sans serif font up here. Remember with Farm Rio, we had the same sort of thing. It's a sans serif font. We've got a plain black and white website, okay? No fancy colors. Now there's colors in the pictures, but there's not colors in really on the site all that much. It's pretty plain and simple. Notice how the navigation here, plain and simple. How is it on Farm Rio? Pretty much the same, plain and simple. The only difference is Farm has the lowercase, whereas Chanel has the uppercase. I do think that lowercase tends to be more playful and possibly modern. Usually when you've got headings that are all caps, like you see here with Chanel, this is more high-end, more classic. So again, if you're trying to go for a bride or, a couple, a groom, if you're trying to go for more of a mixture, you may blend both of these aspects together in your own unique way, okay? Or you could just choose to, again, find the things where they agree and do those things, and then maybe you default to one brand over the other. So like maybe I'd say, okay, Farm Rio, Anthropologie, and Chanel, but I'm going to mostly default to Chanel, right? So, but again, you can kind of take your own flavor because you're drawing from all these different things, okay? And again, I could hit what font, come up here, and let's see if it'll tell me the font on this. I don't know if I actually activated it. Let's try it one more time. There we go. So now I've got the font. So I could go download that font. You could do a Google search for that font, put free after it, download it, put it on your computer. Make sure you scan it for viruses first. Make sure it's a reputable font download and not something that's going to put a virus on your computer. Okay, I am I'm indemnifying myself here. So anyhow, looking at the font again, we notice the same sort of deal. They like their capitals. Okay, I think it's interesting to have a podcast. Notice their call to actions. They've got white buttons, black text. I believe we saw the same thing on Farm Rio. Here we see, now you hover over it and it does change, but take special note that they're using the white over black. And I think they actually did alter it. Up here, they had, this one's the black over white. But I'm just taking notes of these sorts of things. Taking notes of these things. As we scroll down, let's see. I think we were already pretty far down the page. Yeah. So again, you can kind of take a look at how they've done, like how they've done different motivating frames on the website. You may not completely mimic what they've done because I think that their brand and how they've laid out these photos and stuff, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it makes for kind of a clunky website, but it's Chanel, so they can do what they want. You could try something like this, though. I think that they're going to be scant on font. Okay, so that may be the weakness here. And I don't know. Let's click around a little bit more, see what else we find. I like looking for more brand keywords. I've not browsed this specific part of the site, so we're just kind of like checking things out. We're going through here, seeing if there's anything else that stands out to us. This may have been where we were before. I don't know. Scroll down a little bit. But notice, like, I'm just poking around trying to find anything that may speak to me directly about this brand. So we'll click on this part, see if it shows us anything interesting. Oh, actually, it looks like this may have been a wedding fashion show, I'm guessing. I think it's interesting that you see that they kept this so simple. You can also draw inspiration from the photographs. I think that's a good thing to do. Yeah. So I think you get the gist of it, though. All right. The point is we're just trying to draw inspiration for our own website from these other websites. Again, you can come in here with, sit down at your computer with maybe at least 3 brands. Again, we might, let's say we find out there's an influencer. Well, again, we could go to Instagram, may look at the website of that influencer. Same thing. We're looking at the meta descriptions and picking out any specific like brand keywords like iconic, vibrant, bold. And then what we're doing is we're going to the site, actually looking at the logo, how they do their logo. We're looking at the how they do navigations, how they do headings, how they do calls to action, and the colors of the website. And then we're creating our website and our logo and all that other stuff. Again, I'm not saying you have to change your logo, but you should be drawing inspiration from these brands that your ideal client is interested in, because again, they've spent a lot of money to research their ideal clients, and probably more money than you and I would be able to spend in order to understand them. So I hope this has been helpful. Be sure that you always keep this central, because, and when I say this, I mean like understanding your ideal client, because your copy will flow much more nicely when you do, and you'll create more of an immersive experience on your website so that they become willingly hypnotized into immersing themselves into your persona, which is where they begin to build trust with you, so that then they are able to see themselves working with you, so that when they make their buying decision, they're not making it just based on your price. They're making it based on an internal experience that has triggered neurochemicals, so that they actually emotionally desire you. Then they go into the buying decision mode, and they justify your possibly higher prices in light of their emotional experience. So they justify choosing you versus choosing others. That's what we want to do, because we want people that are really excited to work with us, not just people that find us to be a good deal. So hope this has been helpful. Until next time.